Yes, good day, good afternoon, actually. The date today is the 5th of February 2023. Time is 20 past 4 in the afternoon. We are doing Crime Risk Perspective CMY 2601. We're doing today Learning Unit 1.5. As you can see, the contents there. We should be covering this module today. Is the table of contents. Okay, let's get started. Learning outcomes. After completing this study unit, you should be able to define unemployment, distinguish between voluntary and involuntary unemployment, define types of unemployment, provide an overview of levels of unemployment, discuss the causes of unemployment, explain how unemployment contributes to criminal behavior. Okay. Assessment methods. After completing this study unit, you should be able to answer diverse multiple choice and paragraph type questions to demonstrate your understanding and knowledge of and insight of the study material. Glossary terms: unemployment, voluntary unemployment, involuntary unemployment, cyclical unemployment, structural unemployment. Once you have read through this study unit, return to this glossary box and summarize the above terms. Introduction. South Africa has a very high level of unemployment, and this is on the rise. Unemployment is regarded as one of the trickiest social political problems facing the government. There have been lively debates about the nature and appearance and prevention of unemployment in South Africa, but the results have not been unconvincing. This reflects a lack of satisfactory empirical evidence about present-day unemployment and that which existed in the past. The consequences of unemployment are just as diverse as it causes. In many cases, long-term unemployment gives rise to a state of apathy in which the victims do not see even the few opportunities of employment that might exist. In these circumstances, many people see crime as an opportunity to improve their situation. Although some progress can be seen in creating future jobs prospects, for a rather new and emerging economy, various aspects still continue to hinder South Africa in creating employment opportunities. We will discuss all this in this unit. Definition of unemployment. The conceptualization of unemployment with the South African context can be defined based on one or two unique approaches, namely the strict or narrow and the expand broad description. The narrow concept of unemployment focuses on a job search perspective, whereas the broader perspective includes individuals who have not made an attempt to look for work within the previous 4 week period. The latter group is willing to work upon notification of a suitable vacancy. The narrow definition of unemployment is mostly frequently used. Conversely, the expanded concept of unemployment provided a more pulsive depiction of joblessness in South Africa. Kingdom and Knight 2007, page 827, and Brynard 2011, page 68. For the purpose of this guide, we define an unemployed person as someone without paid work, voluntarily or involuntarily, who is available for work regardless of whether he or she is actively looking for work. Voluntary unemployment. Voluntary unemployment is as a result of an inability of the labor market to provide work for job seekers as a result of legislation or social practices, or a combination of both aspects, which further fueled by collective bargaining, a slow response to change, or mere human unreasonableness. Dava 2016, page 613. Enforced or involuntary unemployment. Involuntary or enforced unemployment comes into existence when an unsatisfied need for the demand of the labor arises. Forced unemployment may also surface because of intervention from external forces such as government agencies and existing monopoly dominant advantage over the market and trade unions. Moreover, involuntary unemployment is unavoidable if supply of labor exceeds the demand of labor. Therefore, 2016, 608 and 620 to 621. Types of unemployment. Types of unemployment. Frictional unemployment. Frictional unemployment. Numerous individuals move into or out of labor force according to their personal preference and circumstances. The personal circumstances of an individual are valuable as it expedites the effective allocation of labor transversely across the economy. Moreover, the labor market is characterized by a large degree of variety both in terms of workers and available vacancies. This means that workers must devote time and effort to searching for the right job opportunity. Potential employers do the same in their request for suitable candidates. Consequently, job seekers are employed within their prospective vacancy and may endure a temporary period of employment in order to secure an employment opportunity of choice. Wanty and DeVos and Jacobs 2014, page 8. Similarly, both friction and structural unemployment entails the work to job composition process, although the period of worklessness is shorter than the friction unemployment when compared with the structural unemployment. Living 2013, page 2. Structural unemployment. When an economy experiences structural modification, the industrial structure of activity changes, technology progress, and the location of work opportunities also changes. These changes can result in a more persistent mismatch between unemployment workers and available vacancies, thus reducing the efficiency with which they are matched and may contribute towards unemployment. Persons with skills in deteriorating industry may have diminished prospects of finding employment until they acquire new skills or transfer to an area where enhanced opportunities. Although an economy is constantly undergoing change, structural unemployment tends to fluctuate during periods of substantial change. Valentine 2014, page 8. Structural unemployment consists of three noteworthy characteristics. 11 2013, page 2. 1. Discrepancies between skills of unemployment workers and skill requirement for available employment opportunities. Number 2, the composition of the jobless workers in contrast to the individual who had been laid off temporarily. The structures of labor market organizations, such as wage replacement rates and periods of unemployment benefits. Cyclical unemployment. Cyclical unemployment occurs because of changes in accumulation condition in the economy over the sequence of the business cycle. A deficit of demand in the economy will result in the shortage of employment prospects in relation to the number of individuals who want to work. Prospective employers experiencing weaker demand for the goods and services they produce will decrease the number of laborers they are willing to employ, and they may lay off existing workers with the option of hiring few new employees. In addition, involuntary movement into unemployment will rise, whilst unemployed workers will experience a lower likelihood of finding employment. The opposite will occur when demand fortifies, encouraging potential employers to expand their operation by hiring a new employees and retaining existing workers, which may lead to a decline in unemployment and absorbing additional capacity into labor market. Valentine 2014, page 8. Levels of unemployment. According to Statistics South Africa, Stats SA, the official unemployment rate of South Africa remained unchanged quarter to quarter to 27.7% of the third quarter of 2017. In addition, the quarterly labor force survey found that the rate of unemployment was zero point 0.6 of a percentage point higher when compared to the same financial year period in 2016. Employment grew by 92,000 in the third quarter of 2017, but was further enthused by an additional 33,000 job seekers during the same period, leading to a stable unemployment rate of 27.7%. Although industries reported employment growth quarter to quarter, with exception of manufacturing, construction, and agricultural industries, which declined by 50,000, 30,000, and 25,000 respectively. A substantial decline A substantial decline of unemployment rate was recorded in the Free State, down by 2.6 percent points. The Limpopo province also indicated a positive decline in unemployment, down by 1.6 percent points, followed by Mpumalanga, down by 1.6 percent points. The extended unemployment rate, which comprises those individuals who want to work but did not look for work, increased by 0.2 of a percent point in the third quarter of 2017, escalating the total unemployment rate of the aforementioned figure to 36.8%. Stat SA is, however, of the opinion that persons with an education level of matric and less comprised of 57.4% of the total unemployment rate of 32.6%. Likewise, the youth aged between 15 and 34 remained susceptible and vulnerable in labor market, with an unemployment rate of 36.6%, which is 10.9% points beyond the national average. Sullivan, 2017. Trade unions. South Africa remains in the process of finding tangible solutions pertaining to the disputes arising during the transition of democracy approximately 17 years ago. The trade union movement must accept its shared responsibility for the deadlock of creating employment opportunities. The ideological laden and outdated theoretical analysis of the trade unions in addressing unemployment and modes of finding solutions remains problematic. Patton, 2011, page 41. Rather than closing down the discussion pertaining to the negotiations of minimum wage, union leaders should seek to find an alternative practical solution in addressing the benefit of a lower wage structure to be generalized more equally across society. The possibility of trade unions reaching an agreement with the relevant parties concerned relies upon the influence of other social actors within the labor market. Pattern 2021, page 42. Causes of unemployment. Unemployment can be caused by a variety of factors, and the effect of these factors on workforce can also be very considerable. Considerable. Structural factors. The Labour Force Survey states that the causes of unemployment in South Africa are structural. This means that people do not have skills and the qualifications required for employment. If education is not vocationally orientated, more and more school leavers are, and even graduates will become unemployed. Structural unemployment is the natural rate of unemployment that the economy level that the economy would sustain in the absence of shocks, unprecedented, predictable influence. This level of unemployment is determined by institutional factors and fiscal measures, i.e., unemployment benefits, tax rates, which influence the reservation salary. The lowest salary an employee is prepared to work for of employees. Structural unemployment cannot be empirically observed, although it can be estimated through systems that rely on capturing its statistical and theoretical properties. The following set of indicators provide the most reliable econometric aspect upon which the performance of an economy can be measured against. Oraldi 2012 2.7. The unemployment benefit replacement rate, the labor tax segment, the degree of union dentist, the expenditure on active labor market policies and practices. Natural causes. South Africa is a land of contrast that include climatic climatic changes and cycles which can impact directly and indirectly on its economic system. Droughts, in particular, affect the broader economic system and economic growth and can result in larger scale unemployment. Long periods of drought usually mean the workers in agriculture and allied sectors are laid off. Unemployment contributes directly to poverty, which affects not just people's physical well-being but also places limitation on their health development and functioning of the individual, the family, and the community. Balance of payment. Balance of payments. The balance of payments can be defined as the difference between the payments made into a country and the payments out of a country. If a country has a trade surplus, it means that it exports more goods and services than it imports. Conversely, a country has a trade deficit. It imports more goods and services than it exports, which negatively affects the balance of payments. If we buy more goods from overseas than locally from our own producers, it will cause a greater demand in the foreign country. Job opportunities will move to where the goods are produced, leading to fewer employment opportunities in the country with a trade deficit. Lack of investment in a country. If no foreign investments are made in a country, there cannot be growth and jobs cannot be created. There are various reasons for this. Sanctions and disinvestment action against a country, as was the case with South Africa during apartheid, and now the case with Zimbabwe. Political and social instability, which leads to loss of investor confidence, as in the case of Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and certain other countries. Uncertainty on the part of potential investor about the government's economic policy, high company tax, significant fluctuation in interest rates. Many of these factors can result from efforts by international communities to get a country to put its house in order. As we have said, economic and other sanctions can be applied, including restrictions on international trade and loans and the refusal of supply the countries concerned with new technology. Stanley chief economist Kevin Lings is one of the opinion that the effect of unemployment could be stabilized through rigorous and sustainable innovations invested to improve skills development and encourage private sector fixed investment spending, business development and entrepreneurship. Falling exports. If a country does not export, no capital will be available to pay for the necessities which have to be imported. In many African countries, there are shortage of foodstuffs and other basic commodities such as fuel because of lack of capital. Apartheid policy. The post 1994 South African government has been and indeed continues to be affected by the long term consequences of apartheid. The consequences of a former apartheid policy can be defined as being the instigator of economic outcomes, probably by the policy of promulgated racially exclusivity. Henceforth, the ability of lack thereof of the local economy to generate a sufficient degree of vacancies for all has constantly come under policymakers' scrutiny. Racial exclusion has always been one of the contributors of the disparities in a South African society. Racial segregation detected an array of unequal access to education and welfare delivery and has negatively affected the delivery of services within the range of public sphere such as social services, housing, and other basic services such as water and electricity. Before 1994, non-white had fewer opportunities for education and were prohibited from entering certain professions. After 1994, affirmative action and restructuring of the key institutions increased unemployment among whites. Inflation. Simply put, inflation occurs when government increase the money supply faster than the quality of goods, resulting in rising prices. The general cost of living increase and the people gradually demand fewer goods and services because of higher prices. This means that to decline in production with businesses ultimately having to lay off workers. Automation. As a result of rapid developments in technology and automation, machines doing the work for people. As a result of rapid developments in technology and automation, machines doing the work for people, as well as wage increases. Job losses are unavoidable and people will become unemployed. The formal and informal labor sectors will both be affected. Rationalization. Rationalization. Rationalization refers to reduction in staff numbers as a result of the restructuring of the civil service and government department. This can also take place in the informal sector. With the establishment of the new South Africa, the civil service and rationalized on the grand scale. Many people were paid out, some took early retirement, and others received several severance packages. Many of the people invested their money in some and other scheme, lost it, and are still unemployed. Affirmative action. Rationalization and affirmative action go hand in hand. Affirmative action relates to the elimination of the inequalities based on race, color, gender, which previously existed in the formal sector and in time also spread to the informal sector. Affirmative action took place on a grand scale in government department after the advent of the new South Africa. The result was that whites overwhelmingly had to make way for the people of color in order to satisfy the 70-30% requirement of color and gender. Although it is not easy to calculate the impact of affirmative action on unemployment figures, we can assume that some people were disadvantaged as a result of it and are probably still unemployed today. Privatization. The privatization of certain previously state-controlled services such as telecom, Spornet, has also caused many people to lose jobs, contributing to the current high level of employment. Crime as a factor. Crime can be a factor that contributes to unemployment. Various cases have been reported of subsistence farmers who took out loans to buy stock and were ruined when all their stock was stolen. They have become unemployed and are unable to repay the loans. Some white farmers have sold their stock and their farms as a result of large scale stock theft, ultimately resulting in unemployment for their workers. Skills shortages. In South Africa, government realized that a long-term solution to unemployment and crime would be the creation of an industrialized economy. Henceforth, the transport and energy infrastructure were identified as being critical cross-function entities that would stimulate and revive economic activity across the variety of sectors. However, the realization of a shortage and of skills become a serious obstacle for developing and developing the above mentioned industries. In addition, South Africa barely had the base skills required for infrastructure to improve the situation through micro industrial labor absorbing development and entrepreneurial programs. Various factors contribute to the skills shortage in South Africa, such as the following. It's Matthias Chess and Charles, 2014, page 491. The country's apartheid history, the migration of skilled experts to other countries, policies such as affirmative action that led to many skilled professionals leaving the country, emanating from the fear that the aforesaid policy might not act in their best interest. Activity 1. What do you think government can do to promote employment opportunities? Feedback. Feedback will differ for each student. Youth unemployment and education system. Youth unemployment might be reduced through the introduction of policies that endorse a work-related curriculum and strive to modify education system. Such policies require an overview of professional orientation and training programs aligned with the counseling and work placement schemes in schools and university syllabus. This will decrease a minimum the gap left by inadequate work experience, refine the quality of human capital, and allow progress in the education of labor market. In addition, most effective solution to youth unemployment becoming long-term unemployment is by embracing a policy mix. This entails using conventional economic directives in conjunction with the policies and that encourage increased flexibility in the workforce, easy entry and exit, and economic policies for education that strive to introduce youth to the dynamics of labor force as soon as possible. This may lead to temporary employment with the prospect of acquiring much needed skills. Pastor 2011, page 36 to 36 to 38, and Refugee Andre 2013, page 265. For further reading, you can go to this website. Activity 2. What do you think can be done to improve such shortages, skill shortages in South Africa? Feedback will differ for each student. Okay, young people and unemployment. Rapid urbanization and economic recession contribute to unemployment, and as a result, many South Africans gradually find themselves in poverty. The youth unemployment rate in South Africa during the second quarter of 2017 was 55.9%. Similarly, in Spain and Greece, the unemployment rate has risen above 50%, whilst in the United Kingdom and United States of America, 1 in 5 youths are believed to be unemployed. Marie 2018, page 84. Residential segregation is believed to play a pivotal role in the level of employment available to residents. When adults within the specific community are without jobs themselves, they cannot provide the role models of societal and professional prestige which young people can identify with. Residential segregation also has negative impact on social and work-related opportunities as employment opportunities may sort through personal contacts. Regrettable since most of the adults in the immediate surroundings may be semi and unskilled workers. The youth and ethnic minorities who reside in these marginalized communities rarely have contact with skilled professionals. Subsequently, they do not benefit from network of high quality employment opportunities since residents do not have professional contacts. A long-term effect of residential segregation on the labor market is the unwillingness of potential employers to hire laborers from the disadvantaged communities. Murray 2018, page 84 to 85. Unemployment and crime. Cantor and Deland 1985 developed a theoretical framework to explain the link between unemployment and crime. They stated that two central links, namely opportunity and motivation, contribute to unemployment and crime. The motivation perspective, comparable to Becker analysis, proposed that a decrease in feasible and practical economic projection will intensify the enticement to engage in crime, further acting as catalyst for the unemployed to engage in criminal activities. The opportunity proposition, also referred to as guardianship perspective, conversely suggests that the decrease in economic activity will decrease the availability of criminal targets. The aforesaid implies that individuals who are unemployed are more likely to stay at home, thus decreasing the vulnerability to crime, especially property crime, therefore reducing the willingness to engage. One second, let me just start here. The opportunity proposed, also referred to as guardianship perspective, conversely suggests that a decrease in economic activity will decrease the availability of criminal targets. The aforesaid applies that individuals who are unemployed are more likely to stay at home, thus decreasing their vulnerability to crime, especially property crime, therefore reducing the willingness to engage in criminal activities. The two effects are anticipated to work contrary based upon the type of crime, with the motivation perspective being more conducive for property crimes and the opportunity perspective being pertinent for both property and violent crimes, although it is predicted that the former tends to be more robust in relation to property crimes. Probably 2015, page 3. Conclusion. In the study unit, we have seen that there is a link between unemployment and crime, that unemployment has various causes, and that types of levels of unemployment differ. When we study economic factors such as poverty and unemployment, it becomes clear that a single factor explanation of crime is unsatisfactory or that it has certain limits. Research findings show that There is a need for categories of crime to be created before one dimensional factor like unemployment can be used to explain the statistical differences. In modern complex economies, linear connections between elements such as unemployment, poverty, and inflation are not always clear. Nevertheless, there is no doubt that unemployment plays an important role in crime. Let's do the self assessment question here. Which of the following characteristics may lead to lack of investment? Uh, I think it's political and social stability. I was quick to answer these questions. The answer is all above. The economical growth and above development of a country are driven by two factors. Four, correct. Identify Identify the statement that best describe the opportunity proposition in relation to unemployment. Mm. The decrease of feasible and practical economic projection. The decrease of economic activity will decrease the availability of crime targets. Anybody will use opportunity crime. Rapid urbanization and economic recession contribute to the education has the ability to create criminal opportunities. Number four, identify the three factors that relate to role of skill strategies in addressing unemployment. Ukufunda poor education system but I will contribute here. What is the answer? Okay. Last question. Identify the factor below that contributes towards involuntary unemployment as a result of unsaturated need for the demand of labor which may arise with economy. Overemployment. Okay. All right. We are done with the business of the day today with Crimes Perspective CMY 2601. Thank you.